All right, so ready to dive into a business that started with something we all have in our drawers. Socks.
Socks, yeah. Sounds a bit mundane.
Right. But the story you sent over about Bombas
Eh.
and how they basically blew up after going on Shark Tank,
Yeah.
that's anything BET boring.
Yeah, it's a wild one.
I mean, the whole sock cockroaches thing, come on, you got to admit that caught my attention.
Oh, totally. And
Yeah,
it just goes to show that even something as simple as socks can become a really compelling business story.
for sure. So to set the stage for anyone who hasn't seen that Shark Tank episode, Bombas went in asking for a pretty hefty valuation, right?
Yeah, they wanted $200,000 for a 5% stake in the company.
Which means they were valuing their business at $4 million for socks.
Yeah, and even for socks, designed with a lot of care and special features.
Right, because they weren't just hawking regular tube socks, were they?
No, they definitely had a premium product, but that valuation still seemed pretty steep to a lot of the investors.
So did that backfire on them? Like, did the sharks just laugh them out of the tank?
It definitely raised some eyebrows, especially with Kevin O'Leary.
Mr. Wonderful, yeah.
He's all about the numbers.
You know, I was thinking about that because today, Bombas is this huge success story. But back then, they were basically just starting out, right?
Yeah, basically an unknown startup at that point, and O'Leary was super skeptical about the valuation.
Makes sense.
I mean, the sock industry isn't exactly known for its huge profit margins.
True. Even without factoring in their buy one, give one model, where they donate a pair of socks to a homeless shelter for every pair sold.
Exactly, and O'Leary was also worried about their marketing strategy.
Because they were relying heavily on word of mouth at that point.
Right, they hadn't really proven they could scale things up.
So a lot of red flags popping up for the sharks, but obviously Bombas managed to turn things around.
They did. It's a pretty remarkable turnaround story.
So spill the beans. How did they manage to get a shark to bite?
Well, the thing is, the sharks, they drive a hard bargain.
Yeah, they're sharks for a reason, right?
Exactly.
I mean, they're not exactly known for handing out freebies.
So Daymond, he said, okay, I like the idea. I like the mission. I'll give you the $200,000.
Wow, so they got the money.
Yeah, but he wanted a much bigger piece of the pie than they initially offered.
Ooh, what did he counter with?
Instead of 5%, he wanted 17.5% of the company.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're giving up a lot more control.
It's a tough decision, right?
Yeah.
You're weighing the short-term gain of that cash infusion against the long-term implications of giving up so much equity.
Exactly, and that's a classic dilemma for entrepreneurs, especially when they're just starting out.
So what did Bombas end up doing? Did they walk away?
They took the deal.
Wow, 17.5%. They must have really believed in Daymond's ability to help them grow.
Well, yeah, Daymond John is a legend, right?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he's got the experience, he's got the connections, he knows how to build a brand.
It's like it's almost more valuable than the money itself, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like having a top-tier mentor by your side.
Guiding you through the process, opening doors that you wouldn't even know existed.
Right. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that kind of expertise.
But even with Daymond on board, they still had to execute, right? They had to make the socks, they had to sell the socks.
Right, and the stock market is crowded, it's competitive.
How did they stand out from all the noise?
Well, this is where their direct-to-consumer approach was key.
Ah, so they went straight to the customer, cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. They sold primarily online through their own website.
Which gave them a lot more control, right?
Yeah, control over their branding, their pricing, their customer relationships.
And their story.
Yeah, they could tell their story directly to the consumer.
Highlighting their mission, their commitment to quality.
Right, because if you're in a department store...
Yeah, your socks are just sitting there on a shelf.
Right, you're just another brand vying for attention.
But online, you can create a whole experience.
Yeah, and that direct connection allowed them to cultivate that community feel.
That's something they've done really well, right? I mean, I've seen their Sock of the Month clubs.
Yeah, and their social media is super engaging.
They've definitely built a loyal fan base.
And that community aspect ties in perfectly with their giving model.
Which brings me to something I've been wondering about. How do they make sure that the donation side of things is actually effective? Like, I get that they donate a pair of socks for every pair sold, but does that really address the bigger issue of homelessness?
It's a valid point, right? It would have been easy for them to just slap a label on their packaging and call it a day.
Yeah, buy one, give one, boom, done.
Right. But they didn't do that. They went much deeper.
How so?
First of all, they partnered with over 3,500 organizations that work directly with people experiencing homelessness.
Wow, 3,500.
Yeah, so they're not just sending socks off into the void, they're making sure they get to the people who need them most.
Okay, so targeted distribution, not just random donations. That's good.
Right. And that's crucial because different organizations have different needs.
Yeah, so tailoring the donations to the specific circumstances.
Exactly. And they also redesign the socks themselves.
Wait, they have different socks for donations?
Yeah, they realize that people experiencing homelessness have unique needs.
Okay, so what's different about the donated socks?
Well, durability is a big factor. These socks need to withstand a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, makes sense.
They also focused on hygiene, making sure the materials were breathable and moisture wicking.
So less chance of blisters and infections, I imagine.
Exactly. And they even considered things like the color of the socks.
Really? Why the color?
Well, darker colors are less likely to show dirt and stains.
Which can be a big deal when you don't have regular access to laundry facilities.
Right. It's all about practicality and dignity.
So they really thought this through, didn't they? It's not just about the number of socks they donate, it's about the quality and the impact of those donations.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive. It would have been so much easier to just donate their standard socks and get the same marketing buzz.
But they didn't. They put in the extra effort to make sure their donations were truly meaningful.
Which speaks to their authenticity, right? They're walking the walk.
And I think that resonates with their customers. People can tell when a company is genuine.
Yeah, it's like you can feel it in the brand and their messaging.
And that's a powerful thing. Because consumers today, they're savvy. They can spot a fake a mile away.
It makes you wonder how many other companies with similar giving models put that same level of thought into it.
That's a good question and one worth asking, right?
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the marketing side of things, but the real impact is in the details.
Right. It's about understanding the needs of the people you're trying to help and designing your giving program accordingly.
Well, we've talked a lot about the mission, the buy one, give one model.
Right, and that's a huge part of their story.
But let's be honest, they wouldn't be as successful as they are if the product itself wasn't good.
Absolutely. The socks are the foundation of the business.
And they made a big deal about that on Shark Tank, right? Did they talk about how long they spent developing the socks?
Yeah, 2 years of research and development before they even launched the company.
2 years.
For socks.
Yeah, they were obsessed with quality and comfort. They wanted to create the best sock you've ever worn.
I mean, most people don't think of socks as requiring that much R&D.
Right, but Bombas took it seriously. They saw an opportunity to innovate in a category that had become kind of stale.
So what makes their socks so special? What sets them apart from all the other socks out there?
It starts with the materials. They use extra long staple cotton.
Okay, and what's so special about that?
It's softer and more durable than your typical cotton. It's a higher grade of cotton.
Ah, so they're going for that premium feel.
Right, and they blend it with merino wool, which is known for its moisture-wicking properties.
So it helps keep your feet dry and comfortable.
Exactly. So already you're starting with a higher quality base than most sock brands. Okay, so premium materials. But what about the actual design of the sock? Did they do anything different there?
Oh, they did a lot of little things that make a big difference. Like they have this seamless toe design.
Seamless toe. I've never even thought about that.
Most socks have a bulky seam at the toe, which can rub and cause blisters.
Ah, yeah, I've had that happen.
Right, so they eliminated that seam, making it much more comfortable.
Smart, especially if you're wearing them all day.
Exactly. And they added extra cushioning in the footbed and a honeycomb support system in the arch.
For extra comfort and support.
Yeah, it's like walking on a cloud.
I'm starting to understand why they're called the most comfortable socks in the world.
And they didn't stop there. They also added things like a Y-stitched heel to prevent slipping.
Okay, I've noticed that in some socks, it keeps them from sliding down into your shoe.
Right, and they have this little blister tab at the back of the ankle.
To reduce friction.
Yeah, it's all about preventing those little annoyances that can ruin your day.
It sounds like they really did their research. It's those small details that make a big difference.
Right, exactly. And that attention to detail extends to their giving program, too, which is what makes them so unique.
It's like they've thought of everything.
They've created a really cohesive brand experience from the product itself to the mission behind it.
Speaking of their Shark Tank appearance, was there anything else that stood out to you? Any moments that really captured the essence of Bombas?
There's this great moment where they actually get Kevin O'Leary,
Mr. Wonderful.
yeah, Mr. Wonderful himself, to try on a pair of Bombas socks.
Oh, I love it when the sharks get hands-on with the products.
And even O'Leary, the guy known for being tough and skeptical, he admits that they're incredibly comfortable.
That's awesome. It's like even Mr. Wonderful can't resist a good sock.
Exactly.
That visual, it perfectly encapsulates their whole strategy,
Right.
right? A high-quality product combined with a compelling social mission.
They're not just selling socks. They're selling a feeling, an experience, a way of life.
A move.
Yeah, and that's what's so brilliant about it.
So they had the product, they had the mission, they got Daymond John on board. It seems like they had all the ingredients for success.
They did. But there's still that big question, did it all pay off?
Right. Did this Shark Tank appearance really launch them into the stratosphere?
Well, let's just say they didn't become sock cockroaches after all.
Yeah. That's one Shark Tank prediction that didn't pan out.
Quite the opposite, actually. Bombas is a great example of a company that took that Shark Tank boost and turned it into something truly remarkable.
So they went from pitching in the tank to building a full-blown empire.
Yeah, they've got a pretty impressive operation going these days. They've expanded their product line.
Beyond just socks.
Yep, they've got t-shirts now, underwear, slippers, you name it.
But they're still keeping that buy one, give one model for everything they sell.
Absolutely. That's at the core of their brand identity. And I think that's a big reason why they've been so successful.
You know, it's funny. We were talking earlier about how back when they were on Shark Tank, some of the sharks questioned whether that whole giving back thing was just a marketing gimmick.
Right.
But it seems like it's become a core part of how consumers shop now.
Oh, totally. People are much more conscious of where their money is going.
They want to support businesses that align with their values.
Exactly. And they're willing to pay a bit more for products that make a positive impact.
Which is interesting from a business perspective.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, the focus was solely on profits.
Right. The bottom line.
But now there's this growing awareness that businesses can be a force for good.
And consumers are responding to that.
Absolutely. Studies have shown that people are more loyal to brands with a strong social mission.
They're more likely to tell their friends about them.
Exactly. It's like word-of-mouth marketing on steroids.
So it's not just a feel-good thing, it's a smart business strategy too.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Customers feel good about their purchases, and businesses benefit from increased loyalty and word-of-mouth marketing.
Like you were saying earlier, it's about building a community around your brand.
Exactly. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And Bombas has tapped into that really effectively.
They've created a movement. And people are excited to be a part of it.
Yep. They want to wear those socks and know that they're contributing to something meaningful.
It's pretty amazing to see how far they've come. And it's a great reminder that anyone can make a difference.
It's inspiring, right? They took a simple idea, make a better sock, and use it to give back, and turned it into a multi-million-dollar business.
So what's the biggest takeaway for all the aspiring entrepreneurs out there listening?
I think it's about authenticity. You have to believe in what you're doing.
Don't just slap a mission statement on your website and call it a day.
Find a cause that you're truly passionate about and let that drive your business decisions.
Because consumers can smell a fake from a mile away.
Right. They want to support businesses that are walking the walk. Bombas is proof that you can be successful while staying true to your values.
It's a great story, and it's been awesome to dive into all the details with you.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
And to all you listeners out there, if you're ever looking for a comfy pair of socks that also make a difference,
You know where to find them.
we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of business and innovation.